When every path feels like a trap, the first thing to bury is the fantasy of the perfect door. Life is not a showroom of flawless options, it's a bazaar of trade-offs where every price tag includes a regret tax, and pretending otherwise is how you become a professional hesitator. Kierkegaard called anxiety the dizziness of freedom, and that dizziness is not a malfunction. It's the dashboard light that says, "You're alive. Now choose." Because not choosing is still a choice with interest. Think of The Matrix. Neo never got a green pill labeled no consequences, only red or blue, each with costs, and the only stupid outcome would have been sitting at the table waiting for a third option that never comes, which is what most of us do when we research a little more for the 58th time. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and indecision is precisely that, a horror film shot in your head where every door hides a monster, yet you never test the handle. So here's the ground rule. Decisions are not about discovering certainty, they're about declaring identity. Sartre said, "We are condemned to be free," meaning values are not found, they're forged. And in moments where every option feels wrong, the question is not which path is good, but who do I refuse to be? Because character trims the decision tree faster than pros and cons. Watch Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan. None of his options are clean, yet the story makes sense because his choice flows from a brutal clarity of value, freedom over comfort, and even if you hate his ethics, you can't say he's lost. So step one is value selection, not option selection. Write the sentence you'd be proud to read in your obituary. I protect the vulnerable even when it costs me, or I tell the truth even when I tremble. And now you have a compass that makes some wrong doors less wrong for you. Marcus Aurelius would call this the inner citadel, the place where you decide what is up to you, your intent, your effort, your honesty, and what is not. Market mood, gossip, weather, and if a choice threatens the citadel, it's wrong by definition, no matter the payout. Second, treat decisions like engineering, not prophecy. Good engineers separate reversible from irreversible moves. Bezos called them two-way doors versus one-way doors, and most choices that paralyze you are actually two-way doors wearing theatrical makeup, which means the rational move is a small, timed, reversible bet with a pre-planned exit, not a decade-long marriage to a guess. Naruto doesn't execute perfect strategies. He iterates, shadow clones, probes, learns. He makes micro moves that collapse uncertainty, and that is a template. Reduce the decision from which career defines me forever to which 30-day project gives me signal without wrecking my runway. Put a date on the experiment. Pre-commit to metrics. If A, continue. If B, pivot. If C, quit. Because reality is a clearer teacher than your imagination. Third, run a pre-mortem and an anti-pre-mortem. Two clean questions. If this choice fails, what would have killed it? And if it wildly succeeds, what domino made it so? This is Taleb's anti-fragile lens. Design the downside to be survivable and the upside to be asymmetric. Then you're not choosing right versus wrong. You're choosing robust versus brittle. Consider the Dark Knight's ferry dilemma. The point isn't that one option is spotless, there is no spotless, but that character and design, under stress, create outcomes you can live with later. And that matters because moral residue is real. You will carry the memory of how you chose, not just what you got. Fourth, stop outsourcing your compass to cortisol. When everything feels wrong, your nervous system is in scarcity mode, which narrows perception and makes every branch look like a snake. So regulate first, decide second. Slow exhale, brief walk, a night of sleep, because Epictetus reminds us, no person is free who is not master of himself, and unregulated choices are just tantrums in adult clothing. Then translate meaning into math without letting math colonize meaning. Do a simple expected value pass, even rough numbers beat fear fog. Add option value, what doors open later. Subtract soul cost, how much this erodes your non-negotiables, and include time to feedback, because decisions that teach fast are better than decisions that flatter now. Walter White chose the high expected cash flow and ignored soul, cost, and the bill arrived with late fees. Fifth, consult the two oracles that rarely lie, your future regret and your present resentment. The 10-10-10 frame is practical. How will I feel about this in 10 days, 10 months, 10 years? And the resentment test is surgical. If saying yes will make me quietly hate the person in the mirror, the answer is no, no matter how shiny. Camus said the task is to imagine Sisyphus happy, which is a test of dailiness. Can I carry the daily stone of this choice without poisoning my mornings? If not, the stone rolls back and crushes more than just time. Sixth, accept the dirty secret of right. It's mostly created after the fact by commitment. Watch Spider-Man repeatedly choose responsibility over ease. The world doesn't hand him a pristine path. He consecrates a messy one by devotion day after day. Nietzsche's "become who you are" means you grow into decisions through disciplined action, not mystical certainty on day one. And that's why courage is the primal virtue. It births the others. Finally, practice via negativa. When the menu is a horror show, subtract the poison. Eliminate paths that violate your core values, consume your health, or isolate you from your tribe. Luffy in One Piece keeps discarding treasure that costs his crew, and that subtraction clarifies the map. Now distill all of this into a protocol you can run under pressure. Regulate your state, name the value you refuse to betray, classify the door, one-way, two-way, design the smallest reversible test, pre-mortem, ante-pre-mortem it. Do a rough EV plus option value, soul cost pass, run the 10-10-10 plus resentment test, then move in 24 hours and schedule a review, because decisions decay when they sit. And if you still feel the taste of wrong in your mouth, remember, feeling wrong is not evidence of a wrong decision. It's the friction of adulthood. As Heraclitus put it, character is destiny. And destiny is not the path you find, but the path you walk after choosing, step by imperfect step. While the world mutters that you should have waited for a sign, the sign is you moving. When options all taste like metal, treat the fog itself as data, and run what Aristotle called phronesis, practical wisdom, as a repeatable ritual. Begin by naming the hidden contracts underneath each path. The "if I do this, I'm really agreeing to" clauses that rarely make the brochure. In Breaking Bad, Walt pretends he's choosing family security, but the shadow contract reads ego ascension whatever the cost, and your life has those fine prints too, so drag them into light and half the wrongness dissolves. Then audit the biases that amplify dread. Loss aversion, status quo bias, sunk cost loyalty to dead projects, because your brain is a medieval accountant who hates writing off inventory. Game of Thrones shows how kingdoms die defending yesterday's investment. Hello, Cersei's prophecy fixation. While Jon Snow's best moments are sunk cost amputation. Montaigne would approve. A wise man sees as much as he ought, not as much as he can. So shrink the field to the variables that matter: health, integrity, relationships, learning. 4 pillars that survive market moods. Now use thresholds, not vibes. The 90% rule, if it isn't a 9-10 yes, it's a no, protects your future from polite maybes. And for hard trade-offs, apply the least regret principle. Pascal reimagined. Which mistake could you forgive yourself for at 2 a.m.? Choosing too small or betraying a value? Because regret is the interest you pay on misaligned decisions. Next, rehearse second-order effects like a chess player. Friedrich Hayek warned that complex systems hate naive tinkering. So ask, after the immediate win, what culture does this create? Harry Potter's use of the Deathly Hallows tempts power now, but corrodes the moral weather later. Do this in your life. That high-paying role might seed a calendar where your kid knows your back more than your face. Then steal a tactic from Jujutsu Kaisen. Domain expansion. Create an environment where your strengths are amplified and errors are buffered, so the same choice becomes less wrong inside your tailored domain. Mentor, cadence, constraints. Laozi whispers, governing a great nation is like cooking a small fish. Don't overhandle. So design guardrails, weekly reviews, budget caps, sleep quotas, rather than micromanage every outcome. For ambiguity you can't estimate. Go Bayesian-like. Oppenheimer's calculations. Act on current odds, then update ruthlessly when new evidence lands. Schedule updates on the calendar so humility isn't optional, and protect your identity while updating your map. Strong opinions, weakly held, saves you from the pride that ruined Anakin. Consult your future self-board. Write a letter from you at 80 describing the stories he's proud of. Wittgenstein said, the world of the happy is a different one, meaning the narrative you inhabit shapes the meaning. Of risk and future, you as a master editor. To puncture fear, do stoic negative visualization. Deliberately imagine the worst case but add recovery steps, phone calls you would make, skills you'd sell, friends you'd lean on, because fear without a recovery plan is mythology. With one, it's training. Apply via positiva too. Imagine the best case and the habits that would keep you worthy of it. Aragorn isn't crowned by accident. He trained for the weight of the crown. So if the upside demands a bigger, you decide alongside a calendar of becoming. Finally, take the resentment oath Confucius style. The noble person is not a vessel. Promise yourself never to trade long-term self-respect for short-term applause, then move within 24 hours, because Heidegger warned that inauthenticity is living by das Man, the they, while real life accrues to the one who steps. If the move still feels wrong, remember Kierkegaard's leap is not blind. It's bounded by values, buffered by design, and followed by relentless course correction. In Demon Slayer, Tanjiro's blade is not perfect on the first swing. It is made right by the 100th swing under exacting breath. Decisions are the same. Choose, breathe, update, and the path earns its rightness under your feet. Here is the ending you needed, the closure you can carry into the next hour of your life. When every option feels wrong, you are standing at the only intersection where character is born. Because, as Epictetus said, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him. And the choice you make now will reveal you to yourself more than it will impress anyone else. So do the adult thing the myths keep trying to teach. Accept tragic structure, design honest safeguards, and move with clean hands. Fullmetal Alchemist calls it equivalent exchange, but the deeper algebra is ethical. You will pay an uncertainty for the chance to grow in integrity, and that is a fair trade if you make it on purpose. Think of Frodo leaving the Shire. No option was painless, yet the path became right under the weight of devotion, not the absence of fear. And Seneca's line, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling," reminds you that motion is inevitable. Your only sovereignty is the spirit you bring. So, finish the ritual, regulate your state, slow breath, long walk, name the value you refuse to betray, truth, health, loyalty, craftsmanship, label the door, reversible or not. Engineer the smallest honorable test, pre-write the, if this fails, I recover by doing X, and if this works, I double by doing Y. Run the regret in 10 years test, and then commit publicly to a review date so your future won't be hijacked by your present mood. After you act, practice what the Stoics and samurai shared: serene ferocity, do your duty without clinging to outcomes, update your map without shaming yesterday's you, and harvest learning the way Naruto harvests feedback from every misstep until the next iteration is sharper. Remember Kierkegaard's life must be lived forwards, which is why certainty can never be a prerequisite, only courage disciplined by design. If guilt bites because you cannot save every possible life your other choices might have lived, repeat Camus' stubborn prayer. In the midst of winter I found there was within me an invincible summer, and then behave like someone who believes it, because that belief is a muscle, not a mood. When doubts try to reopen the case at 2 a.m. So quote Marcus Aurelius, if it is bearable, bear it, if not, stop complaining, and perform decision aftercare. Protect sleep, honor your non-negotiables, celebrate micro-wins, and refuse to interpret discomfort as error when it is tuition. If someone says you should have waited for a sign, remember the Dark Knight's lesson. Virtue is not the absence of scars, but the willingness to carry them for the right reasons. And if you need a final image, picture Tanjiro's blade in Demon Slayer. Each swing writes a covenant with the person he is becoming, and by the 100th swing the steel tells the truth. You are the same. Choose, and then become the person who justifies the choice through disciplined action, because Nietzsche's "become who you are" is not destiny, it's maintenance. And if after all this the world still whispers that both doors were wrong, let Heraclitus answer for you. Character is destiny. Walk through the one that protects your soul and serves someone beyond your reflection. Walk with your eyes open and your plan written, and do not look back except to learn, because meaning is not found behind the door you pick, it is forged by how faithfully you carry what waits on the other side. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and check out the videos on the screen. And never forget, live your life to the fullest.